So, as per usual, is there anything that you were doing, that your team was doing, or that the enemy team was doing that was giving you trouble?
For the first half of the game, I think I played very well, and like not much that I did was wrong. But then the second half they swapped a lot, and I kind of got countered. I played Genji for most of it, and I think I just focused the wrong people. I was on the tanks a lot, but then they had backliners like Anna and Brigitte, so it was just really rough. Like, should I just be on the tanks or risk to go like nearby the Brigitte and the Anna? So I kind of was indecisive, I think, in a way.
Okay. Yeah,
Got
sorry,
countered.
sorry if you hear me like hacking and coughing. It's gonna probably be a theme, but
Yeah, no
so
problem, dude.
you say you played Genji a bunch?
I played Genji and Hanzo a little bit, but
Okay.
mostly Genji, I think.
Okay, so for Genji, when you mentioned backliners like Ana and Brigitte, Brigitte's pretty scary as Genji, just because like you can't kite her as well as a Tracer can.
Yeah, well, Triss like doesn't really give me a problem with Genji. It's really hard to deal with.
Yeah, we'll see how exactly that gives you trouble. Also, let's see what your four stack, like how they roll.
Hi team.
Do you guys just run Fair Mercy all game?
We don't, but maybe for half of it at least.
Okay. We'll just skip forward to like there. Oh, sweet. We got. Okay.
So I don't hear anything from the game.
It's because it's pretty quiet.
Man, I got it.
Pris de damage, puis t'avais pas ton nul, mais il
I
l'a
had
pas
to,
posé
like,
fait que genre je peux le tuer.
Put
You,
it higher, I guess.
yeah.
Fine.
J'ai dash, je t'ai tué.
You hear it? You
Ah ouais,
good?
vas-y.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Top lane. Ah, même pas.
Can you record at a higher bitrate? Like, is that possible eventually?
I fixed it for next one.
Okay, I was gonna say because like this sort of artifacting, you can fix it
Yeah.
with just a higher bitrate. I want to make. Oh, title. God damn it! I knew I'd forget something. I need to change the stream title. God damn it! Hold on.
So next one should be better.
Yeah. Well, next time I'll figure out like what I'm actually doing. God. Why can't it just be just be a Grandmaster Diva? That way I don't need to change my thing. Okay. See, this is why the one thing I won't forget is keeping chat open because they'll remind me if I forgot something else. Thanks, Ron.
Enzo's one, Genji's one, Anna low.
It's like right here. I can't really see who all is behind them, but in general, you're spending way too much time spamming the shield. Like, your team is going around through the front of point. You can go through the side of Hotel over here to get pressure at their backline, because if all of your team is at the front of their Reinhardt, then they can devote all of their resources to their front line too. But if you go around the back, then they're going to be split, and that'll make your push a lot easier, because they're either, if you're on their Ana and their Brigitte, for example, I don't know what their healer comp is right off the bat, but assuming it's Ana and Brigitte, the Ana's either healing her team or trying to protect her from you, and that's a good choice that you want her to have to make, because either you're wasting her time and this Reinhardt's not getting any healing, or the Reinhardt's getting a bunch of healing and you're just killing the Ana for free.
Yeah, so without taking risks, just distracting the Ana or
Yeah,
whoever's over
yeah,
there
like
would be better.
you shouldn't like if there's a Brigitte right here, you shouldn't just dash into her and like just try and do all your stuff to her. But if you're just like eating their attention while still like if you're just spamming and not hitting anything, then you're kind of wasting time because you're not getting any ult charge. But if you're actually like landing shots and providing adequate pressure to them, then you're providing more value than you might otherwise be. Like right now, if you're spamming the Rhine and he like drops a shield or whatever, you'll get some ult charge when he drops it. But ultimately, if you if you were providing support in the enemy backline, then you'd be helping break the front line faster. It seems sort of counterintuitive, but it's sort of not.
A nice one.
I guess I'm doing it now.
Yeah, so you sort of go behind. But at this point,
Too late.
it's not necessarily too late, but you don't really have a priority target, right? You're just like spamming right clicks in there. You need to pick somebody. Like if there's this Ana, she's the furthest back. So if you're just spamming like into the fray, they're not really that worried about you because Ana can just heal it off. But if you go way back on their Ana, then ideally she's gonna call, and then somebody's gonna have to go peel for her, which means that your team can then push like after that peel, or you just kill her for free, or you know, etc., etc., etc. Most of the time, it works out well for you, though. Like, you see how this Moira absolutely doesn't care?
Low.
Yeah, she gives no shit.
Yeah, she doesn't care at all. What you did there, though, is dash into the team before your team's ready, when you're dashing in on a backline engage like this, you need to make sure that you're doing it at a time where you can capitalize on that dash. Right now, you just dash through people to dash through them. You didn't end up killing the Moira. It doesn't even look like you would kill her at this point. Maybe. Like, if you landed, like, if you're going for the kill, like, you need to remember that they've got their Ana. She's getting self-healed from whoever she's sucking. Like, she gets conveniently healed at this exact moment. But in general, if you're going for the kill, you want to get that kill and then remember where it's going to put you. And where it's going to put you isn't necessarily a good spot. And you can't really chain the kill between a bunch of people. So, again, it still would have been better to be back on the Ana to force them back.
One more dead. Rain, focus the rain, guys.
Yeah, the Ana is back.
Ana dead.
Okay, so there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, the Ana is back.
Going on the Ana is the right thing to do. Your combo on her is a little weird. I'm trying to, let's see.
Yeah, the Ana is back.
Okay, so for that, I couldn't tell if you right-clicked before you dashed.
I did. I always do.
Okay, I'm pretty sure you're good about that, but I just didn't see it. I'm a little slow. So we'll assume you did. That's good. Did you right-click before you meleeed? I don't think you did.
I didn't. Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the habits, as well as doing it before I bladed. I need to.
Yeah, get in the habit of right-clicking pretty much whenever you can. Your dash was a little preemptive, and your melee was possibly preemptive too. You could have just, like, right-clicked and then right-click meleeed, instead of right-click meleeing and then right-clicking. She ends up dying because, you know, you've got your Pharah above to help, but in general, you don't want to commit that melee until, excuse me, it's either going to be a final blow or unless you have the time to deal with that recouping of the animation. Yeah, like right there, you see how long the melee animation takes? Like, that whole time
just
you...
shooting at that point would have been better.
Yeah, just constantly right-clicking is usually better than meleeing. Oh, oh, unfortunate. I'm not normally someone to say unlucky, unless it's actually unlucky, but that was kind of unlucky. It's sort of unlucky, but at the same time, we'll wait for it.
Yeah.
This is this is right-click range, but when you're a little bit further back, I'd qualify that as left-click range, especially on one person like this. Like, Zarya's not like... Yeah, like, when she's this low, you can go for the, like, shotgun approach to the right click, or you can just go for the secured kill of the left click.
I just know I'm a lot more confident with right clicks than I am with left clicks, so...
I mean, pretty much every Genji ever is, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's just because you get hit markers for every click, but you're generally not hitting all of them. I'm gonna turn the French down a bit, just because I can't understand it.
Yeah, they're kind of loud.
So,
Don't worry about it.
what was your like thought process behind pushing this far up? Conveniently, you've got two supports here, but
All charged because I know Ana was about to get it, and Zarya too.
okay,
Well, we don't have an Ana, so Zarya. I was planning on grab Zarya.
okay. So deflecting the Moira, you can tell it's a mistake, but I think it was it an instinctual deflect? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
It was just like you see
Yeah, I don't
somebody
know why I
deflect. At least you start backing away quickly, but you also did the same thing on the Zarya you're looking at, like back when she was under bridge, or like under that like archway thing, you deflected her too. So I don't know if you're only panic deflecting, but if you put more thought into your deflects, you'll get a lot more value out of them. Like, deflecting a Zarya isn't always a mistake, because you can deflect a right click, and it does a lot more damage than you might think. But deflecting a Moira, and, like, in this case, the beaming Zarya, like...
Yeah, that was
yeah, it's
probably
just...
more of a panic thing.
Oh, for sure. What you should be saving deflect for, especially in this case, is a Fire Strike.
Right,
because-
yeah, I've been working on that.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
all game.
Yeah, I was like, if you're deflecting his Fire Strikes, he's pretty much never going to get a Shatter. You're also doing a pretty good job of not using it, like, against spam. Like, did you watch the, like, 4150 Diva VOD at all?
No, I didn't.
Okay, because their biggest problem was using their DM all the time, and using it mostly for spam. In this case, you're doing the opposite, which is both good and bad. You're not using your deflect for, like, incoming random enemy spam, but the result of that is you're not using deflect very often. So, Like there's a point where you use deflect and then you wait a while and you use it again and then you wait a while and you use it again. Then there's using it optimally, waiting forever and then using it optimally again. Like you could have used a few deflects within that time. So like you can use it to break shield, you can use it to force people back, you can use it to bait cooldowns. Like just use it more. So, sort of like with Widow Venom Mine. A lot of Widows just don't use Venom Mine at all. You might as well get in the habit of it, but make sure you still have it. Basically, don't use deflect all the time, but it seems like you're pretty decent about knowing when you should, like in concept. So in practice,
Just
do
more
it.
often.
Do it when you should, and make sure you have it when you should. But when you know you're not gonna need to, just throw it out to do, like a menial thing, like bait out a single cooldown, or you know, anything like that. Help break a shield.
Oh, pixels.
Oh, I can't see anything. But here's a pro tip when there's a grav, right? If there's this huge grav, right, and you're like right here, you can dash through, get your blade, right, which is what you did. But then you can jump up, slash, and dash through, and then just jump backwards again, slash, and then dash through again. So you're just kind of like zigzagging back and forth this way.
Yeah.
Instead of having to go like this back and forth all the way through it. It saves some time. It keeps you spatially oriented a lot better. Because like
It looks cooler.
It looks cooler. It looks. It's like, oh, it's one of those little tips and tricks that you see it happen. You're like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea. I should do that. So yeah, you should do that. Especially because like you have no idea what the hell is going on. I can't see this thing.
No, I got bladed too. So
Yeah.
Moi, c'est toujours un big res en fait.
So there was an interesting dash on an engage. I typically don't support using dash as an engage tool. One of my other students does it all the time, and that's probably their single biggest weakness, especially when you're happening to dive somebody who's got support on them, whether it's a Harmony Orb or it's an Ana or Mercy Pocket or whatever. I typically use my dash as either a tag to tag two people who I know are going to die very soon, so I'm effectively final blowing them, or actually final blowing them, so I dash and then dash that way. Dashing to an engage, basically, it's basically spreading yourself to them and saying, like, you're super confident in that fight, right? Because you use your only escape tool as an engage tool, which means that you're basically saying, I'm going to win this fight, and I'm confident I'm going to. And if you don't win that fight, then you're going to get totally clapped on because you can't get out of there unless, the fight lasts for 7 or 8 seconds.
that's right. Yeah.
So that sort of an engage, that's more okay because you're closing a distance and there's a single target that is going to die. But if there's multiple targets and it's like dashing, it's basically like, yeah,
I wasn't gonna die there.
yeah, that was not risky at all. But diving on the Genji was a little more risky.
Yeah, boy.
I've seen people do it into whole teams where it's the most risky, but
Sad here. Le squad est en feu.
Oh yeah, Effie, this is.
Non, non, ça fait un gros change des bots qu'on se pogne.
We're gonna get grabbed. We're gonna get grabbed soon. I'll deflect it. Don't worry.
oh boy,
He's grabbing, dude.
I hear I'm gonna deflect the grab.
Fuck.
The number of times that I hear somebody say I'm gonna deflect grav and then they don't deflect grav is more times than people saying like, oh my god, I can't even think of anything, dude. But like, okay, so this Zarya, if she does have grav, knows that you're gonna try and deflect it, and like, especially because you
I saw
didn't.
she walked in a straight line, and I was like, she's going for it, but.
Here it is. He's gonna grab. He's gonna grab and deflect.
You died so fast. How fast was that? Hang on.
I just instantly died.
Okay, hang on.
He's gonna grab. He's gonna grab and deflect.
I don't even know what killed me at this point.
Oh,
like, the
dude,
ride.
it was everything. Oh my god,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, it's gonna kill me. Okay, so deflecting a grav, yes, good choice. However, don't overcommit to that grav because if you, in this case, you didn't deflect the grav and you got you got absolutely clapped on. So like time to the point. Like if you're, like Zarya's walking in a straight line this way, but you're also like face tanking her. And if there's a Genji right up in her face, she's not going to pop grav. So you basically need to be in the back line, and then right as you think she's about to pop grav, you move forward, right? It's sort of like, I don't know, it's like with Ryan Shatters. You got to make sure you drop it at the right time so that they're not, I don't know, man. I can't explain it right now. I'm laughing too hard. Slash coughing too hard. I should have named the stream like Sick Stream or something. Holy shit. Jesus.
Non, c'est une bonne idée.
You're fine.
Oh god, I'm having like hot flashes too. I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. It's a mistake.
If you need a break, don't worry.
No, it's fine. Oh god. Okay, so at this point your team's pretty much all out of there. They've got a bunch of spam. I'd fall back. Like you're gonna.
Yeah, I think I die here.
Okay. Oh yeah. Even if you didn't die to the Pharah, you still would have fed ult to somebody else, like either the Moira, or the Zarya, or the Ryan. Like, there's plenty of other ways for you to. Even if you don't die, like that's another thing too is people will go in, they'll lose like half or like 3/4 of their HP, and they'll get out and they're like, oh, I didn't feed. It's like no, you fed like all of your HP. So you know. If you can disengage when you're still at like 150 HP and just cut your losses, that's better off than like poking to get 3 or 4 more ult charge %.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna grab.
Again, this is the case in point where like you're right up in the front line, you're active. Like you can't. If Zarya's here and you're here, you can't pop deflect and then have her pop grav into you. It needs to be she's popping grav and you're popping deflect at the same time. It's like when you're deflecting a Widow, right? If you're here and you've already got deflect up and Widow's just looking at you, she's gonna be like, "What is he doing?" and then just shoot you when your deflect's down, which is exactly what the Zarya does. Like, you could have deflected that if you just, like, played a little bit safer and baited her into it. It's not like... You still have to remember that you're trying to outplay her, not just on a mechanical level, but on a mind level. You need to make her think that she can pop grav, like, oh, Genji doesn't have deflect because he's not up here. And then, whoa, abracadabra, he does have deflect. And you get a free grav. Ooh, rip mercy.
I think I feed here again.
Yeah, you're not going... Oh, God.
Rip.
Jesus. The deflect poking. Like, when they're spamming like that, just don't even bother peeking. Like, you deflected a bit, but like you're 21 HP. Like, even if you did deflect any of that back, like you got 5% ult charge off that. Was it worth it? Yeah. You risk dying, you risk feeding way more than that. Was it worth it? Definitely not. Again, at this point, I think they still have a Zen, and if they still have a Zen, you should be going for him. Just clap him out of the fight ASAP.
Yeah, so the plan is like I pop Zen trance with my ult, and then they grab Barrage. That's what we were saying in French.
Okay, that's a lot of ults for one push here. If you had spent the earlier parts of this round just keeping their Zen down, then they're always having to play a little bit safer than they want to, and Zen's gonna ultimately killing Zen. Yeah, it keeps his Harmony and Discord out of the fight and whatever, but it also delays his trance considerably. And considering I don't think anybody else on your team is targeting the Zen, excuse me, he's always having like any opportunity he wants to build up trance. So he's probably had the opportunity to trance like multiple fights now, like more than he has. So like, you know, if you keep him down, then you're keeping his trances down. Not only killing him when he has trance, but killing him so that he can't get it. Like, you're playing frontline Genji, which works, but only up to a certain extent. Monka, what?
That's an interesting...
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here we're playing on Blade, but then someone dies and...
You lost Ryan and your Zarya. Like, if you look at how low your Zarya is here... Wait for her. Look how low your Zarya... Like, that's... This is a fight that's not totally lost, but it's one that I wouldn't commit more to. Like, if you Blade here, it would have been a huge mistake. Oh, okay, good. Good. I saw you dash, and I was like, oh, don't do it.
No.
Yeah.
I don't. But I died, though.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, again, watch it. So, you're at 80 HP. How long are you at 80 HP? It's for a while, I think. Okay, so after the dash, you're at 80. It's 223 when you start at 80. Let's see how long you stay engaged at 80. That was like 10 seconds of being at 80 or less HP. You should have disengaged there. Someone in chat, Ron, was like, just climb up to high ground. Yeah, that works, but you're still low. You could climb up to high ground. You could go into the Hotel Mini. I probably would have gotten a Hotel Mini instead of dashing through everything. Or you could just just go all the way around back to spawn. The thing with hiding up here is, yeah, you're safe temporarily, and yeah, you can get healed by somebody, but the enemy team will see you go up there, and then they'll be like, oh, he's ready for Blade. So even if you're not actually ready for Blade, you're accidentally telegraphing to them that you're going to be popping a blade combo soon, especially because you guys have just been like face tanking them for so
Yeah,
long.
well, they definitely know because they staggered us for like a pretty long time.
They definitely know that you're planning to stop your stagger with a huge ult combo, and you don't want to telegraph that any more than you already have to, you know? It's like you should be, like, look at their comp, right? You should be in their backline, destroying this Zen all the time. Like, if you keep their Zen dead, then their Pharah's going to have a ton of trouble because this Moira's not going to be able to heal her very much. And then once the Pharah's having some trouble, then your Pharah and Mercy can be a lot more uncontested. And then they can be dunking on the Hanzo because they only have to worry about him and not the Pharah. And then everything just kind of starts working out for you guys. And the key thing is keeping this dude dead. Like, if Zen's up, like, he does way more for the team than you think he does.
They're calling Blade, and I was like, I'm gonna die if I go first, but they just said go for it, so I kind of good.
It's one of those times where if you should go around in the back and you should try and kill the Zen or force out his trance before blading, because like in the pro leagues, using Blade to force out trance is fine because they can capitalize on a team fight without trance without ults. But in pretty much every other elo, like, trading Blade for trance is like, but considering you're not keeping the Zen down, your Blade comes up a lot less often than his trance does, so he's getting value out of it instead of you. You know, it's like, you can say, oh, I baited out his trance, but for him, it's like, oh, I had trance to stop the Blade, you know?
Yeah. I think we just used every ult we had.
Oh my god, dude. Again, with the Zarya deflect, the panic deflect, you're super low, just disengage. You're using it on the wrong people and at the wrong times. Like, you can use offensive deflect. I don't think I've seen you do that all game, other than, like, deflecting a fire strike or two, but you should be placing a lot more emphasis on it if you can.
Ah, t'étais pas là, nous autres? Ah, je pensais que t'étais là, bro.
Non, moi je me suis fait one shot par Hanzo parce que broke mon hero.
Wait, what?
But,
Monka, what?
yep. I was like, what did I deflect here? 'Cause
I don't know, man.
Genji's fucked.
I don't
Wall
know,
climbing.
dude. Oh god, wall climb's so bad right now. But you see how this whole time you're basically, like, payload's being pushed, right? And you're just on the payload, pushing it. This whole time you could be getting into a better position, wherever that, like, happens to be. But instead you're just taking the frontline Genji approach, which is sort of like playing frontline Tracer. You can, like, it works to a certain extent, but it's the biggest bot out strategy you can possibly have. Because it doesn't take a lot of effort to play a frontline Genji, you know? It's like spam shields when shields go down, spam people, go in with a blade every now and then, right? But
Yeah.
you're not making use of, like, even, like, the half of your kit that you could be making use of when you're playing frontline Genji, you're not, because you're not using deflect to break shields. And you're definitely not using your dash at all, because if you dash in, if you're playing frontline Genji and you use dash, like, that's just a suicide. Like, don't do that. So instead you should be playing more in the backline or on an off angle, so that you can, like, off angles are the best for Genji and Tracer in my opinion, because you can use your deflect offensively and defensively, and you can use your dash offensively and defensively, and you're getting equal parts frontline Genji and then equal parts, like, backline Genji. So you don't even really have to make the decision about which one you want. You just need to make the decision about when you want to be which one, if that makes sense. Have I seen Ryan's quadruple shatter? Yeah, I saw one where the dude got like 6 shatters in a row on Junkertown. It's bad right now. You see how quickly you deleted the Pharah? Like, she's holding still in the air, right? Which, you know, it's like, oh yeah, easy kill. But she has a Mercy on her. She stops conveniently, but if a holding still Pharah, you notice how quickly you deleted her? Like, you can do that. You can do that same thing to a Zen in the backline pretty much consistently. Like, you have the mechanical skill to do it. You just need to decide to do it. Because, like, Genji can delete. Like, Zen doesn't move very fast. Like, he's really slow. He's really predictable.
Yeah.
He's got a huge hitbox when you're point blank. Like, he's a super easy target. So spend your time going for him. Like, even this whole fight here, like, you're on the Zarya, like, you should be on the Zen. Yeah, look at that. Look at how quickly he died. You did 70% to him in not very long.
I should be clapping him
Yeah,
more often.
which you can clap him, and you have clapped him, but you're not clapping him routinely enough and in the ways that you should. Like, going for this Pharah, dude. Oh, alright, conveniently you get the Mercy. I'm surprised that worked out for you, but there's an example of when you're poking deflects, by the way. It's sort of okay, but look what you're deflecting. You're only deflecting a Zarya right click, and you know the Ryan's right there. He should.
I think I got killed of the Hanzo headshot, and I just wanted to get on the corner. It was more of a safety deflect, I think.
Safety deflect? Okay, fair enough. I'll give you the safety deflect. That dash though, I don't agree with that dash because A is on a Pharah who both moves up and down and left and right, so it's really hard to like get your dash to actually land on her. But at the same time, she's pretty much full HP when you go on her. And against an aerial target in particular, like, your dash is your most guaranteed form of damaging her, and you don't want to blow that early on in the fight, you know? It's much better to spam shurikens at her and, like, potentially pop a huge reverse deflect on her and then finish her off with a dash than it is to dash in on her, try and get the huge deflect, and then spam to finish her off. Because, like, you basically want the damage to look like this, dunk, if this is, like, a graph of damage over time, right? That's supposed to be a T going this way and then like damage this way, whatever. Instead of being like dunk do because this whole time right here, they can be getting healed, and then you've already spent all your burst. But this time when there's low priority for them getting healed, it's like, oh, as soon as there would be a high priority for them to get healed, you're then damaging them instantly, so they don't even have that opportunity. You know, it's like for their Mercy to be healing this Pharah when she's at full HP, basically. Like what's happening right here, right? Like, that shouldn't be happening. She should be on damage boost because she's full HP. And if she gets hit with a Hanzo arrow, though, she's going to immediately switch to healing to top that off. But if she's getting randomly poked, she'll stick on damage, and then when a Hanzo arrow comes in, your Pharah's immediately dead. The whole talk right before the, oh, man. The timing of that. Oh, so unfortunate.
I knew a dasher and I was like, I can one-shot her with dash and one slice because I had just dash her, but I just.
I mean, yeah, you can, but you didn't land your dash on her. You missed the dash.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
I didn't know that though.
Okay, yeah, you missed the right click and the dash, and you're like, you also don't right click before your blade, and you missed the slash too. Oh, that's so. Oh, man.
That's a big oof.
Oh, that is a big oof. Ron in chat says big oof. Ron knows the feel. But you see what I mean, though, of like when you burn all of your bursts, like you burn your slash and then your dash, like you go all in on that combo when you don't even know if it's going to work. So it's like from this point until this point, you had one plan in your head and you executed it no matter what. Like at this point, wait for it. This is joint one of your, so your path could go like this, right? Boop. So we're right here. This could be, do you land the dash and do you land the right click? And the answer is no. So then you'd go over to this path, and then your next one would be, okay, do I decide to blade? And the answer is yes or no. And if the answer is yes or no, we'll say it's yes. You go this way, then it's, do you land the slash and the dash? And then it, like, you know, it just keeps branching like that. But you've just got this linear line where it's like there are no other factors. It's just, what am I going to do? And then, like, if we're going a graph against time, like, what am I going to do? How long is it going to take?
Well, this is me being new to making plans instead of playing out of habit, so I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you made a plan, which is good. Like, I can tell that you had this plan, but now you need to work on, like, there's a reason I say start with making a plan first, and then we go forward from there. You make a plan, and then you start incorporating what can change your plan, right? So there's a lot of Genjis who are just like, this is like their thick, like, default autopilot path, right? I don't know what that's supposed to be. It's supposed to be an arrow, right? That's their autopilot path. And then you're over here like, okay, this is the path that I have created in my head. And then you can get to the point where, like, making this weird, like, branching family tree thing, right? So you've gone from stage 1 over to stage 2. And then we'll get you into stage 3, where it's like, that's when you're making huge plays off the cuff, like, just going nuts all the time. Shut up, Ron. I know it looks like a dick. Alright? Leave me alone. You know what? Drawing with a mouse is hard. You try it sometime. Open up MS Paint. Okay, so now they've got this Brig out, like, you gotta be kiting her super duper hard. If you get stunned, you're clapped. This is where, you remember when I said, like, you've got, like, the off-angle Genji that you should take, so you can take front line for your team and then back line. Being on the off-angle lets you take like this front and back line relative to Brigitte too, because you can do it relative to the enemy team, but when there's a Brigitte in the mix, you have to be a lot more careful when you're going for the backline dive because she can just stun you and immediately clap you. So kite her as best you can, but also go in there, kill the Zen, and get out as fast as you can. She's basically the bodyguard and Zen's the president.
Zarya one, boys. Dead.
Fair low.
Brig and one inside. Brig and low.
What was that shriek?
And a 5-1.
Guys, push card.
You're spending a lot of time on this Pharah, by the way. If your options are between going for a Pharah and going for like frontline Genji, I'd go for frontline Genji just because it's more reliable. It's a more consistent use of your time. Because going for a Pharah, it's either like all or nothing, and most of the time you're going to be getting the nothing. So even if you're just spamming a Rhine shield, like that's more value than killing the Pharah. Like you've got your team to focus her down.
Don't watch.
What the hell? Come on.
Hey, there you go. Were you focusing on ghost dashing afterwards, or
I just got scared.
you just got scared? Okay. So when you're on somebody point blank like that, it's just a choke. You're like, oh, don't die to him.
Fuck you.
God, you just overcorrect for every right click, right? It's like when he, whoa, okay, he's like squatting down there. But watch your tracking on him when you pop deflect on him. It's like it's a little jittery right over here, but in general you're pretty close to him, so you have the ability to track somebody in an arc like that. But as soon as you go from deflecting that to going for your right clicks, you see how
I only like flick.
even there when you had no ammo, you twitch and you shake, you clench. Have you ever been hunting or like shooting a gun before in real life?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know like when you're first learning to shoot and like you like tense up when you're about to shoot if you're shooting like a heavy gun, for example, you know, and you're anticipating the recoil. What you're doing here is anticipating like the recoil. Like watch. You see how you still shook even though you didn't have any ammo? It's like if you're like 4 years old and your dad's like, all right, we're going to go shooting, and he doesn't put anything in the gun, and he's like, this is going to kick like a bitch. And then you pull the trigger and you like shake like mad, but nothing happens. And then you realize like, oh, I don't need to do that. And then when you actually go to shoot it, you're a lot more relaxed so that the recoil just like goes through your body and doesn't actually hurt. What you're doing is overcomplicating it and predicting something that doesn't need to be as painful as it is. So just like if you slow down and focus on just putting a crosshair on the Hanzo, then you're going to end up killing him. Like you have the potential to do it. Like it's totally doable, but you're just psyching yourself out.
Hey, Shatter est tombé brisé à cette heure, man.
Ouais, je sais, c'est pété, man. Tantôt, j'étais derrière une crise de roche, man, pis ça me shatter, c'est...
Oh, mais l'ont dit, je pense.
Hey, understood shatter, that's it.
Yeah. He's not because he got shattered through a wall or something.
What was it? Wait, what was that fire strike? Why did he just fire strike the wall?
Yep.
Huge.
And what did I deflect, by the way? Zarya's right click.
Or was it a Zen? I don't know, man. There's like a Zarya thing here. There's one here. Who knows, dude? I have no idea. Deflect's weird, but at least you went for the deflect on the fire strike. That's good. He whiffed it anyway, so like, you know, you baited him into fire striking the wall so that he didn't send it into your deflect. That's what you did. One thing you can do too, I don't know if you've ever like thought about it, but you can fake having blade. Not a lot of people do it, but you know how like I told you to not telegraph that you have blade when you have it by like going up in the window. You can also fake them into thinking you have blade. Like if it's been a while and you should have blade by now, but they're not 100% certain, you can play a weirdly aggressive, like going up here and then just waiting. Like if you go up there and wait, dude, they're gonna think you have blade hands down. If you don't, that's fine because you're baiting them into playing more safe so that your team can push around this corner. It's the same thing with like pulse bomb. If you're playing really aggressive, like looking for a pulse bomb, but you're only like 30% to it, they don't care. They just don't want to get stuck. So they're gonna play a lot. Like the playstyle of we're gonna avoid this ult is typically the worst playstyle to have, rather than be the Chad and say we have these ults, we're gonna use them. So if you can make them submissive, then you can push around corners super easily. It's helpful for like Dorado and stuff, like pushing under the bridge where it's super difficult. You still like on this Pharah, you're not as shaky. You just do like little flicks to her instead of like the like flicky U shape you did on the Hanzo. It's like just because here it's like you're sort of okay, I'm either gonna hit her, or I'm gonna miss. That's okay. But with the Hanzo, you're just like, whoa, get out of
Like,
the
I need to
whoa.
hit him.
Yeah, you put too much pressure on yourself. Oh, so this is now 2 fights in a row basically where you've run out of ammo. So when you're spamming somebody like this, right? So this is where you're at full ammo. 5 seconds forward, you're at 9. So just watch your ammo count. There's multiple times where you could have reloaded here. Right here is the most notable one. She's now basically dropped below the level of these 2 buildings, right? Like she's below this plane. So you don't have to worry about her shooting down on you. So you can pop behind this box, slap a reload in there, and then keep going at it. Because the last thing you want to do is one of these, where you dash in, you commit, you can kill her if you just have shurikens, but you don't. Or like you have to go for the melee, but she's too far away. Like, that's just an unfortunate, that's an unfortunate circumstance that could have been easily prevented by hitting R. Ooh. Okay, so this is where the combo where I said, like, you know, you've got the grab, you like slash, you go in, you jump out, you do the same thing over and over. This is exactly why, because watch when grab hits, you get 1 slash in and you dash, but notice where you're dashing, right? This is the floor, and you dash like exactly parallel to it. It puts you way too far away from the grab, so you can't capitalize on it. Like your Pharah ends up
double jumping.
Yeah, double jumping. So it's basically, you've got grab, right? You dash into it downwards. So you double jump once, dash in, and then you jump out, and then dash back in. Then you jump out, dash back in. Meanwhile, just slashing every time before you dash. So you like slash out at this range, which will hit the grab if you do it right, and then you dash in, etc., etc. So the Pharah cleans house here, but if it was just your ult, you would have missed a crucial amount of the time by dashing through. Like if you look at the topping, right, you basically start from here, dash through, and you end up like over here, and the grab's right in the middle. So if you were equivalently up on this high ground, dashing down in, it wouldn't be anywhere near as bad.
Grab si tu veux. C'est bon, on l'a. Alright. Mon gars, excuse. Ah, tu vas vraiment t'en aller, toi, merdeux?
So you see how when the Zen's alone, like that's only when he dies? Like, you're not targeting the Zen alone pretty much ever. Wait, is this a 45-minute game?
It's a really long game.
Oh god, dude. Jesus.
Wait, no. I played another game.
Okay, I was like, if this is a 45-minute game, I've been talking way too much. Oh my god.
It is a long game though, because you do end up capping entirely, and then we have like, 2 other rounds.
Oh god, dude. I'll start. Jesus. I'll start talking a little bit less. There we go. Okay.
I'm not.
Hey man, you might as well experiment in the beginning of the game. It's weird. I've never seen two teams both run pharmacy on this map like multiple times in a row. Okay, so you see what you just did to that Widow? That Widow player is their Zen from last round. If you did that to him when he was on Zen, that last round would have gone by so quickly, he just got deleted. You can do that to a Zen. Like, Widow stands more still than Zen, but she's got a smaller hitbox. Like,
Yeah.
she strafes about as much as a Zen, slower, but still the same. Like, notice how you're on the Mercy too? Like, there's a difference between left click and right click range here. Right click, yes. Right click, yes. This is left click range right here. So like that little spam there, if those were left clicks and 2 of them hit, she would have been dead. But in general, like, you see how you're going like from target to target, they're squishy to squishy, like in the backline to in the backline or whatever. Like, it's just working. Like, this is the better Genji playstyle, and it's working because you're picking off the right people at the right time.
Right.
Wait, are they still on Widow? I wasn't paying attention. Okay, see, they immediately swapped off of Widow because of that. And if you can get their Zen to immediately swap off, like, bye-bye, dude. Yes,
well, he's
please.
playing Moira now.
Well, I mean, whatever.
But yeah, I get the point.
Yeah. If you can dunk on somebody that hard to the point where they feel like they need to switch, if they're playing a crucial, like, Zen, and they can't switch, like, that's awesome. It's like, now you're engaged on this Zarya for too long. Like, she's somebody who you're not, like, basically, low HP targets are targets where all of your abilities have a considerable impact on their health pool, right? So 50 HP right here is 1/8 of their health when they're 200 HP, assuming I've done my mental math right. whatever. And then deflect, if you deflect another 50, you've done a quarter of their HP by popping 2 abilities, and then you throw 1 or 2 right clicks in there, boom, you're done. It's sort of like Doomfist, where you go in on somebody, you use their abilities to kill them, and then you get out. Genji can be played the same way, and he's not necessarily optimal when played that way, but he's a lot more optimal than playing him like a frontline soldier, you know? Or like a Zarya, where you like can't flank around.
I'm kind of playing Genji like I was playing Hanzo, like at least on tack. Now I'm
Yeah,
playing it a lot better with.
yeah, you played Hanzo too aggressively, and you played Genji too passively. So like right now, you see how enemies are all looking this way, and you're on the side. This is the off angle I was talking about. This is a good example, right? You've got like this hotel right here. You can be either side of it, in the back line, in your front line, and that's your choice. And it doesn't take very long to go between them. But if you're like back here, that's a hard flank, and you've committed to it. So you need to get like a Zen or something back there.
So I don't even need to engage here actually.
Yeah, you could have engaged. You could have sat on the side, like, ooh.
Mercy one.
I'm not blading.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, don't pop blade there. This is a good example of it's a perfect grab because you have no idea like what's back there. So when you don't know what you're blading into, don't blade. Like, I see a lot of people do it. Like, there'll be like, you know, your team's pushing this way in, enemy team's right here. You'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go through here and then pop blade, but you have no idea what's actually back there. So then you just get dunked on. Don't do that. Know what you're blading into. If you can't plan a path for your blade, there's a problem. Even if it's like a really rough or ghetto path, like you need to be able to plan something.
Get wrecked.
I like how vocal your squad is.
You what?
I like how vocal your squad is. They're all like,
Yeah,
"Wah!"
yeah, we're having fun.
Hey man, as long as you're having fun, whether you're winning or losing, doesn't matter.
Yep.
I mean, you know, it does if you're losing too much, but
They're gonna grab.
Yo, run.
oh,
I lost her. GG.
fair enough. Losing somebody in the air like that is pretty common. That's why I don't suggest going for it. Again, I don't know what you... Do you pop tab? There we go, okay. Oh. Well, okay. That sort of explains it. So, your best bet to killing this Pharah is basically, like, you and your Ana and kinda your Moira. And that kinda sucks. Like, no wonder they're still running Pharah Mercy into this, because, like, you guys really aren't... I really don't agree with your Junkrat pick. Just because you don't, like, the spam could easily be done by another Pharah to, like, air battle her or something. Or, you know, a Hanzo to combo with your grab or just anything. But I was just about to say you shouldn't be spending this much time and effort on this Pharah, but it sort of makes sense because you don't really have anybody else to do it. I fucked up my blade, sorry. At least you knew in the moment. Ooh.
Big sleep on Mercy.
Big sleep. Who woke her up? Oh, here's Zarya. Nice. Big wake. Big wake.
Still winnable.
Big wake.
Big sleep. Big wake.
Yep.
Ryan, wow. That's cool. Just so.
So for a barrage like that, there's two schools of thought. There's the school of thought that you go with, which is right click and dash, and then there's the school of thought of pop your deflect. I prefer the right click dash or the left click dash combo because popping a deflect into that, while it can kill her,
It works, but then you use deflect.
It works, but you deflect, and also like her barrage spread, if it's your screen, is huge like this. So like if you're this little tiny Genji, like you're getting splash damage to all over the place. Like you can, it's sort of like Death Blossom too. I don't like deflecting a Death Blossom just because it feels really inconsistent.
Yeah,
like,
it's awful.
It's so bad. I don't know how it works, honestly. Honest to God,
I have
like,
no idea.
I just get out of there. So
Like you deflect it and they like get deal 20 damage, then
yeah, it's like if you were it's like what? Like if you're deflecting at him, it's like, do you need to deflect at him? Do you need to deflect around him? Like how does it? Are you just blocking the damage like a Rhine hammer? I have no idea, but you make the right choice here because you could have killed her a little bit faster, maybe with deflect, but then you'd commit deflect like here, like boom, you just stopped his ooh. Look, there was another example of look how long your melee took.
Yeah. It's just a habit that I have.
a habit that I suggest you try and break.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, you're getting better at using the deflect for the fire strikes. Like you said that earlier, there wasn't a whole lot of evidence, but I trusted you, and I'm glad that you indeed have.
Yep.
See, there's the back line, but when you're alright, so this is one of those big flanks, right? Like, okay, we're going for the huge flank here. You go for the Genji. Okay, sure, that's your target. Go for it. However, you get a right-click dash in, and that's all you get for your flank, which you could have just done that from the front line. It's like you'd rather just be back there and then get somebody in. You don't want to, you know, teams again, right? You don't want to go in, do like a very small amount of work and then immediately get out. You'd rather get in, do a bunch of work, and then get out. And use your like, imagine if you killed somebody before you right click dash through the Genji, that would have been a better play, because all you did was set up for that right click dash, and you don't need to set up that hard for the like wombo combo you used. This is a good choice to not blade here, because you're like 3 feet outside their spawn, so if you committed a blade to this, they'd end up winning. Like, just in terms of ult economy. You know, this is another thing where you're doing the exact same thing to them that they did to you, so you should be expecting a huge wombo combo ult setup here. So you should tell your team, especially since they're so vocal, hey guys, be ready for, you know, XYZ ults, play around it in 1, 2, 3 different ways. So that, don't just say they're going to have these, because, actually, I don't know what their team goal was, I wasn't looking, but don't just tell them that they're going to have ults, tell them, like, let's see. Tell them which ults they're going to have, and then tell them how to play around it in particular, if you happen to know. So, like, are they going to pop, like, Grav Blade? Are they going to pop Nano Blade? Are they going to do, like, Nano Blade plus Shatter? Are they going to do just, like, Grav Shatter? Are they going to do, like, just Moira Brig for some reason? Nano Brigitte Grav? Yeah, like, are they going to do, like, Nano the Moira into the Genji Shatter? Like, you don't know necessarily, but you can tell generally in game, like, okay, these are the reasonable ults they could use, so play around it in these such ways. Wow, they did decide to pop Coalescence. Okay.
Question mark.
I would not have guessed that. At this point, though, your team has backed considerably further behind this point. All you are seeing is essentially, if we block out this dude. There we go. All you are seeing is enemies. You can pop Blade here, but remember, they have so many different ults that they're probably going to shut you down super fast. Oh.
But I get Nano. Yeah.
Boom!
So you commit Nano, Blade, and High Noon. So you guys basically did what they were going to do, but you didn't need to. It's like Nano Blade would have just worked. High Noon would have just worked. Blade maybe would have, like Blade High Noon maybe, but in general you committed way too many ults for that one push. So like now, since they didn't use very many ults, they now have huge ult economy advantage over you guys. That's the problem with spawn camping, right? Is you're spawn camping them, they're not using ults, but that means that they're building them, and then they're just gonna come at you. It's like a, what is it? It's like a rubber slingshot, right? Like you pull it back and you pull it back, and then the further you pull it back, the harder you're gonna get whacked when they let go.
I live, so I'm finding.
Right.
What in the world? Where did he come from? What dimension?
He was
Actually,
just there and I didn't see him.
I don't even see, so he's not there now.
But I live, so I'm finding.
I think he climbed one. We climbed at the same time, actually. That's what happened.
Yeah, there's like one frame where you can see his name. I'll try and pause it just because, like, it's a funny
I live,
engagement.
so I'm finding.
Yeah.
It was like right there, whatever. But so he all comes up at the same time.
I guess he happened to be looking at the right spot and I wasn't.
Yeah, you were like tabbed up. See, now you look.
My bad, my bad.
See, again, you dash through and you immediately have to turn around. Now you're in the middle of the team. You got 2 in the back. There's a bunch in front of you. You're right in the sandwich middle. That's typically not a spot you want to be in. You'd rather be in the back pressuring somebody. You know, pretend the Zarya's not there. You'd rather just be pressuring the Ana or the Zen. You know, if he was back there, that'd be the best. But going from the back and then going back through into the middle isn't what you want. See how even, it's kind of a bad screen to be paused at, but there's still nobody friendly here at all. They're all behind you. Like, even, okay, your team is all back here. So I would have looked around to see whether you should have even engaged there or not. The answer definitely would have been no if you saw how far back they were. Yeah. How close are you to Blade? Okay, not very. Yeah, you could have just stayed back there and then like waited for. Do you guys have like a grab or something coming up? I don't think you used grab last fight. When did you last?
Probably have.
Probably throw out grab into like a hole somewhere just because you're using all your ults. You might as well. Okay, yeah.
We have grab.
You do have grab. So since you have grab, you could have just waited back there and then like saved your dash and then waited for grab to be popped and then just dashed through it a couple times to farm ult that way. It's sort of like nanoing a Genji before he has Blade can help him get Blade faster. Same thing with a Grav. Like, you don't need to use Grav Blade combo, but you can use Grav to get Blade faster.
C'est sûr, of course.
No.
They're not on the payload. Okay, now they are.
That's a funny moment.
What?
No.
This is gonna be funny.
Oh, what the fuck? This leaves me? No.
They're not on the payload. Okay, now they are.
I'm ready for whatever's about to happen.
So, I think it's after this fight. So many pixels. I really need to fix that.
Holy Jesus, dude. Even if that's no. Oh my god. Oh. What the. There's so many ults. God, I hate this meta.
Oh, that's so
Shatter, Nano 2. Oh my god. Was that all of them? That was all of your ults.
Yep.
That was 4. Oh.
Oh, that's
Just watch the run. How long he survives. It's kind of insane.
No, you guys are winning this.
Come on. On Zarya, I guess.
What?
I'm coming, dude, I'm coming.
How is he?
What? You'll see.
Guardian in 2 seconds, bro.
What the hell? Dude.
No, I'm not using, I want in.
Who are you going for with this blade?
I don't know. I just wanted to help him.
Who's
And then
this?
not C9.
Okay. Okay, so the zoning blade.
guess.
Don't. If you can target anybody that isn't like a full health Zarya, like.
Yeah, but then if I did, I would have C9. So
Well, not like.
I thought Ryan would stay alive.
Well, maybe not like target. I mean, like, if you're my thing here is don't pop blade. If you did pop blade, wait for the enemies to come to payload first. Like, of course you don't want to C9, duh, but you don't want to use just your blade for like one person. Like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna get very far with that.
I want C9.
Yeah, see, at least you're saying I won't C9.
I'm coming.
Big anti. Yo, rise low.
Huge tire.
Don't C9. And you
She missed a shot on me.
Don't C9.
Oh, like even then, like you're popping a deflect against somebody who like it's not a high value deflect, and you're being Moira sucked at the same time. Like it would just be better to be actively pressuring the Moira, pressuring the Ana. Do you guys lose this fight?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, you totally could have won it too.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man.
Oh, everyone's so low.
That's fine, dude. That's fine.
Oh,
That was like actually insane.
that was like actually that was a pretty insane stall. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Did
so
I go Pharah? I think so.
you are now Pharah, which is against this team comp a pretty good choice. I don't necessarily like playing Pharah on this part of Kings Road just because I think it's too claustrophobic and there's not a lot of cover. But that said, countering a Brigitte with a Pharah is just an easy shutdown. There's pretty much nothing she can do. So as long as you're avoiding this Ana, and that's about it, you're good.
Right.
Oh, là, ici! Tellement chanceux, man, c'est fait pas beau.
So I'm hoping, there's conveniently Genji here, but I'm hoping that on Pharah your reloads are gonna be more like thought out than your Genji reloads, because Pharah reloads are much more important because you only get 6.
Yeah.
Thankfully they fire faster now on PTR, but
Yeah, I can't wait for the buff.
I don't know how I feel. It's sort of a buff, but sort of a nerf. Like deflect or direct impacts are so hard to land with her. Like, Jesus. But in general, like you place a lot of emphasis on your shots. So like if you engage at 3, like you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. Pharah is like sort of like Genji in the sense that you need to set yourself up for success as best you can. That comes in your positioning and your reload management.
Oh shit.
Okay, so good choice to reload there. Uh-oh.
Why game are you? Cool.
I could have waited.
You could have waited. You could have popped somebody with your E a little better. Like you could have had more guaranteed boops there. In general, when you pop up, look out for your team here, right?
Why game are you?
They're like waiting to regroup here, and you can just chill down here for a little bit until they're actually ready to go in. You're going a little preemptively. So notice how they all hop on you super quick.
Fuck me.
Yeah,
Alright.
I waited like 2 or 3 seconds. I would have been fine probably.
Yeah.
You guys want goats?
You want a goats? You want a
That's
goats?
interesting.
Goes Fair Mercy again.
Yeah.
Fair Mercy is goats.
No, the Raxu
Okay.
Classic.
The Raxu Classic? Is that what you called it?
Yeah,
No,
a
the
gift.
Raxu Classic.
You know, like we were doing the voice lines things, and I was like a gift
I
for you,
think that's
teabagging. Raxu Classic.
I know.
Oh shit, boy.
Fuck him up. Big Eddie, Big Eddie. Big Eddie, Big Eddie, Big Eddie.
Huge call outs. So again, you're playing frontline Hanzo, which works, but I still suggest taking. My playstyle in general is sort of taking off angles. Obviously, I'm like promoting that, but I think it's the best of every single world because you don't have to worry about barriers as much as Hanzo because there's always off angles to take. You don't need to worry about like frontliners like Reinhardt clapping you as much if you're playing side angle Genji. If you're playing side angle Tracer, you can kite Brigitte super easily, etc., etc. The only one I don't really play like on an off angle is, you know, tanks where it's important, like Zarya, or if God forbid I have to play Ryan. Like I won't play off angle Ryan, but in general, playing an off angle is providing you with more options than playing straight in the back.
Zarya, low,
Zarya,
Zarya,
Zarya.
one.
Anna's on high ground, top right. You can kill him. Fair low, fair one.
It's like right here, you're tunneling on these dudes in the back, which is fine, but you've just presented like your back completely to the enemy team. It's like you're like, oh, enemy team, they're not there. The enemies over there, they are there. Like that's who I want. Those are the big red danger marks. So you're gonna go for them.
Anna's on high ground, top right. You can kill him.
Which,
Fair low.
alternatively, instead of running straight to them and beelining up, you could take this high ground here and contest them from equal ground rather than you being on low ground and them keeping high ground. Or you can, you know, still sprint past point and then try and get up here. But in general, I wouldn't sprint over to point and then just kind of chill in this middle area.
Fair low, fair one.
Thankfully, you don't get punished for it, doesn't look like, but, you know, because your team moved up.
Too easy, boys.
Too easy. Is Too Easy still LFT? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah. I'm just gonna stand and pay up because we.
Saw 10 seconds, and
Yeah.
like this Anna's gonna see 9 and I'll trust her.
Oh god, yeah, no. If you guys all pushed up and like didn't get payload for this and just immediately lost, that'd be so sad.
Yep.
Taking responsibility, I like it.
Where I have?
One thing I see you
On
do
that
is
side
like,
of the I should have had my crush on the head level, and I would have killed her, right?
yeah, I'm trying to look at your crosshair and your bloom. It seems like you're not fully charging all of your shots, which I suggest doing. Just because it makes it more consistent for your drop and your projectile speed. It just makes it more reliable in general. So like always go for that. There's like if you're spamming low power shots, that's a different thing. But in general, doing like 90% is like no. I'd rather just spend another quarter bill a second to get to 100.
It's kind of fucking my aim up.
Yeah.
Because of the
Stand the
buff.
payload on Axe, stand the payload, okay?
By one, merci.
You're keeping your crosshair kind of at like mid chest level,
Sure,
which
you guys stand the payload.
is good, but like when you're on a hero like Widowmaker or Hanzo or McCree, you'd rather keep it at head and then drop it if you have to, rather than keep it at chest and then bring it up. You know, because if this is your line and there's heads on it, you'd rather be on that line and then bring it down to where there's bigger center of masses than be at the lower line and then have to get up to these little tiny precise ones.
Wait for me.
Oh, I'm glad you got punished there, because I don't know how long they've had this Hanzo, but I'm pretty sure it's been since last round the dude's been on Hanzo / Widow. He was on Zen first, he killed him as Widow, then he went to Hanzo. So you're playing this really long sideline, which is okay because you're playing Hanzo. You can play long sidelines, but you push past your cover, which is in this huge open area. You'd rather be just like use this cover, just peek it, charge up behind, and then peek and let go, and then go back behind to charge up again. That'll save you from stuff like that. You just got over aggressive.
Shield, shield, res.
I'm shielding. Counter charge. Yeah, shatter, watch out.
I'll put grab.
Okay, so he calls shatter. Ryan's nanoed
And I
now.
just run towards him.
And you run towards him, yes, exactly. I would back up as soon as he calls shatter, whether you know he has shatter or not. If somebody's calling shatter, just trust him for a second and just back up. Okay. Okay, so he was right. He had shatter. And, like, I think you moved up because you didn't want to C9. I don't know. But in general, they call shatter, like...
And we had graph combo and barrage. Dude.
Yeah, you totally could have won that, but... if you just backed up... Like, and let me phrase that. If you just didn't... Wait. What am I even saying? Sort of. Let me phrase it. If you played this little corner to your left, so he shatters, and then you can go in and touch, or whoever is like around over in this area, they could touch. In general, they had you guys sort of pinned there, just by your need to touch. You sort of needed to play aggressive.
Okay, they ping dive. Oh shit, they're playing gold.
Then they play goats, and I'm playing Genji. So you can expect what happens.
It's fine, man. You just gotta go for the one target that you can actually get, whoever that ends up being. See how you're switching targets a ton? The biggest thing with goats is if you switch targets a ton, they're just gonna get healed right back up. Even if you deal like 150 damage to them, if you're not securing that kill, they're not gonna die anytime soon. So commit as much as you can to securing a kill. Playing Genji against goats just really blows, but if you can, just secure a kill. Whoever it is, it doesn't matter. Killing the baby diva, awesome. That is a secured kill. That's good. If you want the Moira, then go for the Moira. If you want the Lucio, then go for the Lucio. Like, you switch a bunch and they punish you for it because they just have that. Wait, what's their comp? Did they switch to?
Yeah, they just swapped because they got clapped.
Okay. Okay. I was gonna say, I'm like, this doesn't look like goats now. Like.
One now, nice. Okay,
One more
three
fight
now.
and we win this shit.
3 is 1, 3 dead.
It's sad. I look down the timeline and I see 20 more minutes, and I have to remind myself that it's another game. Like, there's no way this goes on for 20 more, like 20 minutes of overtime. No.
So I'm just farming blade for grab here. That's my plan.
Yeah, that's a
I
solid
don't want to
plan.
engage. I just want.
You don't want to engage here, especially because it's like getting pretty low. There's still another fight left, but you guys committed a lot to that fight. Did you commit shatter too? So we got Nano and Grav.
Yeah,
Nano, Grav, and shatter.
One person too.
Yeah, that was a little overzealous of a shatter, but at least you're gonna have blade. One thing you can do against the Pharaoh is you can jump, dash, and then while you're flying in the air and you're going down, you can double jump again to cancel that and buy you some more time. Like, if you double jumped right here, you'd basically be like, stop, and then you get another little mini arc to track and flick, or, you know, track and land your right click a little more easily. Doesn't really matter, but it's just a little tech. So, notice, for this blade, actually, I'm gonna let you figure it out. Try and just watch your dash, and try and tell me, like, what the problem was.
Dashing a tracer, I guess.
Dashing somebody, not necessarily just tracer, but dashing somebody when it wasn't necessarily a kill, and like not chaining it into something else. When you're going for a Genji blade, right, you don't want to do a slash and then a dash down into somebody if you can avoid it, because then you need to use your next reset dash to get to the next person, and then you don't get the luxury of dashing down. Like, you just, like, you'd rather have it be you slash and then you like they take some chip damage, and you dash through them, you kill them, and you get to the next person, so that you can use like your reset dash from this kill to then dash through them or to get to the next person. You know, it's really hard to explain. Yeah, just line them up rather than go for one individual kill then another individual kill. Think of them as like they're tied together with string, and you're just dashing along that string.
Yeah.
Boom!
Easy.
It's an easy call, boys.
I got carried that last fight.
Easy, boys.
Well, like, you guys just had ult advantage hard. You can just press Q harder than them. Like, you burned 3 ults last fight, and you burned, I think, 3 ults this fight. I saw Barrage, and then I saw Blade. I don't know if there was another one, but there might as well have been.
Probably.
But, is there anything I brought up that you would like me to clarify more on? If anything.
Maybe more information on, like, the play styles with Genji, so the frontline one and the backliner and the off angle. Like, what's the sign that I should like stop being behind my Reinhardt and get an off angle / big flank? Like,
the sign that you should not be behind your Reinhardt is just the sign that you should not be behind your Reinhardt. I don't like to be behind. Like, if you like, be behind your Reinhardt until you push past choke. Basically, once you get past choke, that's when all of your options open up. If you're behind your Rein during a team fight, that's typically a problem, unless you're like low or you're planning something or like you're waiting for him to shatter and then you're going to dash through it. But in general, if you're staying behind your Rein, you're spending you're basically forfeiting all of your mobility like that you would have as an advantage to just be protected by the Rein. And like, Genji's better off using his mobility offensively or defensively on his own.
just play Hanzo if I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, just play Hanzo, just play like Junkrat. Like, if you're gonna stand behind a Rein and spam, there's a bunch of other heroes that work more effectively than Genji. In terms of backline, it really depends. Like, being on a backline against certain heroes will totally destroy you. Like, if you're trying to backline on, like, a pocketed Pharah Mercy on Eichenwald second point, you know, you're trying to backline that bad boy, you're never going to win because they've got so much open space. But if you're trying to backline, like, Zen Mercy is probably the best combo to just delete as Genji or Tracer. The worst is probably, like, Brig Moira or, like, Moira Lucio or Brig Lucio or anything like that. Those heroes...
I just hate the new, like, healers that they keep bringing.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like them, but at the same time, like, they're just annoying. I feel like they're better for the game overall eventually.
I guess, but it's sort of a big nerf for, like, Genji. Like, Tracer, you can deal with it with many blanks, but...
Yeah, Genji's in a pretty rough spot right now. Genji's in a spot where you're either... Pretty much every DPS always is in this spot, but Genji especially. Oh, what is that? Oh, recent events, I need to figure it out.
Supporting my gay friend less than 3.
God, thank you, Holden. I appreciate the 601 bits. It will go towards another can of soup. I appreciate it, my dude. But anyway, what was I saying? Fuck, I totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, about like why Genji's in a rough spot. So he either is enabled by his team or enables your team, and if you're playing, Jesus, oh my God, thanks for the
Fuck
bits.
you, Holden, this is my domain.
God, the text to speech. I appreciate the money argument. Keep doing that, and then just keep fighting. Fight for that #1 spot. Give me money. But in general, when you're doing something in the backline as Genji, oh my God, you're doing it in the backline to enable your team to push
Fuck
in.
you.
You're doing it in the backline to enable your team to push in. If you're not enabling them to push in, then they're enabling you to do a team wipe with your blade, like if they're setting up a grav blade or like a nano blade or something like that. If you're playing shield Genji, or you're just bashing shields, you're not enabling them to push forward, and they're not enabling you to push forward. So I think that's the easiest way to sort of determine for yourself whether you should be on the side angle or not, is just, am I enabling anybody, or am I allowing myself to be enabled?
All right. That's a good way to put it.
God, can you like hear when that happens?
No, but I can see it in the chat. 'Cause
Okay, I was gonna say, like, every time it
There's a
happens
money
on
mark
stream,
going.
it's just ding 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 ding. It's just this really loud, like, triumphant noise, and I love it because it's the sound of bits and donations. and it's two of my friends just fighting over fucking who gets the #1 leaderboard and telling each other to fuck off and die. I think it's a loving relationship. But anyway, is there anything else you want me to clear up?
No, thank you again, man.
No problem. Do you want me to put down a schedule for the same time?
Yeah.